Our special guest host today, Roberto Martinez, is back with a Valentine's Day discussion. Does monogamy really exist? We are posing the question to our panel of experts coming up.
Come on, Roberto. Let's talk about you and me.
When am I
You're reading this.
I know right now.
Yes, right now.
We're on?
Yes, we're on. What would you do without me, Roberto? See, don't you just need me right now, Roberto?
I need you. You're
Hey, now we're talking. Yeah. Okay,
time for some talk with our Valentine's Day expert panel here. Some very interesting things we've got.
Yeah,
this is going to be an interesting conversation.
This is very interesting, especially on Valentine's Day. So right now, listen to this. We're going to jump into the topic of the origins of monogamy on Valentine's Day. Can happily ever really truly exist? We want to welcome our panelists. One of our panelists, Christopher Ryan, he writes about this topic in his controversial and widely popular book. It's called Sex at Dawn. Also joining us is sex therapist Dr. Rose Hartzell. Good morning. And also the author of Love at First X, Grace Fraga. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for being here. Chris, let's start with you. This is a hot topic. You did a lot of research into your book, and it talks about, you look at monogamy. What did you conclude? What are your beliefs?
Well, first of all, I should mention that the book's co-authored with my wife.
Interesting. Okay.
Silda Jetta, so that'll add a new twist to it. What we discovered is that human beings are not wired for sexual monogamy. We may be wired for emotional intimacy and long-term intimacy, but sexually we're definitely not a monogamous species.
Why?
Well, the evidence is overwhelming. If you look at primatology, the apes that are closest to us, the chimps and the bonobos, neither of them is monogamous, pair bonded. If you look at the fact we have sex about 1,000 times per birth. Okay?
I'm sorry, say that again.
We have sex.
That's a lot of practice.
Who has sex 1,000 times per birth?
For those of you, that guy over there.
Oh, me.
Yeah, I know. Every time I mention this in a public speech or something, you can see half the room go, and half the room goes, what? Yeah. As a species, human beings have sex about 1,000 times per child born. Now, that is highly unusual for mammals. A gorilla, for example, has sex about 12 times per birth, right? And that's more typical of mammals. Most mammals only have sex when the female's ovulating. So human beings have sex for non-reproductive reasons.
Yes, we do.
Right?
Well, I want to get the ladies into this conversation too, because I mean we could talk about this literally for hours.
Sure.
But Dr. Hartzell, you think that monogamy does work, like it does work for people?
Well, we're sitting here on Valentine's. It looks like the studio threw up pink and red.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a mistake. I think that people want to have that in their lives. I think that although sometimes things that are difficult can be the most rewarding as well.
Okay, now Grace.
You wrote on the topic of broken lovers. Kind of what's your kind of take on this? On monogamy, is it possible?
Well, my thing is, the best part of marriage is divorce.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The best part of...
Yes, see?
Why did you say that?
Viewers at home are like, oh,
Well, let
this
me
is great.
explain why.
Okay.
Because after divorce, you get all these exes, ex-boyfriends or ex-girlfriends, and what you do, instead of discarding them and not being in touch with them anymore, you keep them, and you can use them as resources. Like I have an entertainment lawyer that does all my legal stuff for free.
So you have to be divorced to somebody, and that's maybe a closer friend and resources you have?
Yes.
Can't you like skip the whole divorce part and not have to go through all that?
Alimony. What?
So you enjoy serial monogamy?
Absolutely, totally. I don't, yeah.
But what about, I'm sorry to interrupt, what about just being with one person? Like not, just loving and intimately being with one person. I know that you're going to say, like, marriages fail a lot of times because of this. Why? Like, you love somebody, you want to be with them. I can't imagine, my husband being with other women.
Yeah, I'm curious in that as well. So do you have, like, maybe you're intimate emotionally with somebody for the rest of your life because you're married, but then maybe sexually you're not? I mean,
Good question.
That's the way most people live, right?
Okay.
You know, we look at how many people have affairs. Over 70% of men and over 60% of women admit to having affairs, despite being married.
Wow.
So that's essentially how we live. You know, if you talk to polyamorous people who have multiple relationships at the same time, but everything's open and on the table, what they say is, look, we're doing the same thing everyone else does, we just don't lie about it. Right? So if you look at the reality and the ideal, they're two very different things. What you're talking about is actually very similar to the way our ancestors evolved, because you've got these ongoing relationships and people maybe you're not having a sexual relationship with them now, but you did. They become part of the family. They become part of your network. And so what we argue in Sex at Dawn, essentially, is that human sexuality is not about reproduction primarily. It's about forming, trusting relationships, networks of relationships. And that's what our species does better than any other.
Do you think marriage is going to go away one day?
I think marriage is always changing. And so when we talk about so-called traditional marriage, which tradition? Anthropologists say marriage is universal, but we describe societies in our book in which marriage, there's no expectation of childcare. There's no expectation of sexual monogamy. There's no property exchange at all.
So these expectations are what messes everything up, right?
Well, marriage became, with agriculture, became about property.
Okay.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Read it in context. It says, nor his house, nor his ox, nor his slaves.
Look, we could talk about this for hours.
Yes,
I know that we got to take a break because we got so much going on this Valentine's show today. I know you're sticking around because we're going to talk more love talk. Yes, I know you have some questions too. You're like off the edge of your seat wanting to ask questions about this.
Very interesting.
I know it is. You can post, by the way, if you're like him and you have questions, go to our website, our Fox 5 Facebook page, post your questions, and then we'll ask our panelists in the next hour. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay,
Thank you all very much.
we're going to send to Raul 1,000 times per birth.
I like that idea.
I'm sure you like that idea.
I'm just
I'm sure
saying.
your cousin likes that idea too.
I'm just saying.